we are going to have a conversation with Sihlo Bolani, who is the CEO of Sihlo Bolani Consulting and who is an organizational cultural strategist, career coach, and an author. She will share her views on the importance of personal growth and how to apply practices as an entrepreneur in your own business.
My name is Sihlo Bolani, and I'm an organizational culture strategist, a podcaster, a career coach, and author of the book titled We Are the Ones We Need: The War on Black Professionals in Corporate South Africa. I always thought that I would be in corporate until I was at least in my mid-40s. But corporate had a very interesting way of forcing me into entrepreneurship when I did not think that I was ready. And that's essentially because I found myself in a very toxic work environment where I left without a job, without a plan B. And it led me through a very winding road of about 5 years of trying to figure out exactly what it is that I'm trying to do, or what it is that I'm passionate about, or even what my purpose is, to be quite honest. But it wasn't until my book came out that I really became very clear about what it is that I wanted to do, where I want to lend my voice, and what it is that I wanted to fight for. And that was really around ensuring that I work to contribute towards the creation of workplaces that are safe, equitable, fair, and equal for all employees, and particularly Black women. Self-mastery for me really begins with the journey of beginning to learn yourself. So many of us grow up believing that, we know who we are purely on the basis of what we have been taught growing up, the beliefs that have been instilled within us, and what society expects from us, and the standards that it has set for us. And for me, my personal journey of self-mastery has involved having to go back to the beginning, getting to know myself all over again, learning to understand who I am, what my voice is, what my passions are, what are the things that I feel passionate about, and what triggers that passion, where does it come from? And it led me to also then have to understand what the traumas are that I'd been holding on to and wasn't necessarily conscious of, and go through a real journey of healing to be able to understand then what does my authenticity look and feel like for me. And then that then enabled me to begin to align to what my own values are according to my own definitions, according to what is true to me. And that really has translated itself into everything: my personal relationships, my professional relationships, as well as the work that I do. Personal development for me involved therapy. It involved working with a coach. It involved a lot of reading, a lot of learning from other people's journeys. I know a lot of people will focus a lot on wanting to work with mentors, because a lot of people believe that, the key to them getting to the next level is working with a mentor. But, what's been important for me in this journey is understanding that everybody that you interact with, everybody that you see on social media, being able to curate who you follow and the content that you see, everybody plays a role that teaches you something that helps you as part of your personal development journey. And so I think one of the most important things for me has been to have an open mind about where I can learn, and not be so rigid about, I'm only going to learn from people who are multi-millionaires because they are the only ones who have the answers, because even they have people that they learn from as well. And I think one of the other things is just being open to continuous learning. None of us are ever at a point where we know and understand everything about life, about work, about our careers, or about our finances. And being humble enough to understand that and being open to the process of learning is such an important and critical part of that personal development journey. Taking the time to invest in yourself is one of the most important and one of the most valuable investments you will ever make. What's happening now, what we have exposure to now, the tools that we're using now, the industries that we're in now may be completely different in 5 years. And we need to start approaching our learning with that lens that says, we don't know what the future holds, but how best can I position myself and prepare myself for the uncertainty that lies ahead. When employees join an organization, they join from a point of having a skill set that is suited for a particular role that they've applied for. But we all understand that when people join an organization or any other form of employment, whoever the employer may be, there is a responsibility as employers to aid their development to help them to get to the next level. So there's a number of things that organizations can do in order to play an active role in developing their employees. For starters, it's being able to do a skills audit to understand exactly what skills each and every employee has and how those skills are enabling them to be able to fulfill their functions to the best of their ability. The second thing is being able to, once you've identified gaps, identify where employees need to be developed further, but also have conversations with them to understand what direction they want their careers to take, because it's not for the employer to dictate what an employee should be doing. I think it's also important for organizations to prioritize budgeting to ensure that when budgets are allocated for training and development, they're done so in an equitable manner. In a lot of organizations, we do see a trend of very specific race and gender groups that are prioritized when it comes to career development initiatives and budgets. And, you know, when we speak about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace, we are starting to see how so many marginalized groups, and we talk about women, particularly Black women, we speak about the LGBTQI community, who are missing out on opportunities for development that is funded by their employers. And so many people are finding themselves in a position where they have to personally fund their own development, because they understand that in order for them to have access to greater opportunities, to have access to advancement, they have to keep upskilling and reskilling, learning and unlearning. And organizations need to play a much more active role in enabling employees to be able to advance their careers and help them to reach their dream objectives and be able to, you know, work in their dream careers. I think as an entrepreneur, it's incredibly important to understand that as soon as you decide to start a business and decide to hire employees, you're taking on a very big responsibility, one that can never ever be undermined or understated. For starters, it's important as a leader to be able to understand yourself. It's important to be able to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, to also understand what it is that your business is actually, you know, established to achieve. What is your business's purpose? What problem are you solving within society? Because then that'll help you understand the types of people that you need within your organization, the types of skills that you require, but also understanding the type of culture that you need to create in order for you to be able to attract the right kind of people to your organization and to keep them, but also to be able to attract the right types of clients who would be drawn to your culture because it resonates with them. We're living in a world where people are becoming so much more socially aware and are holding organizations a lot more accountable than we've ever seen before. And that's due to a number of reasons. And social media is one of those very, very big reasons. And so it's so important for organizational leaders, and particularly entrepreneurs and those who are, you know, first in their families doing this, starting their own businesses. It's so important to understand that you are the one that sets the tone in your organization. And the way in which you show up, the way in which you treat your employees, the way in which you treat your business is going to influence how your employees behave, how they perform, what results they produce, and how your stakeholders feel about your business. And so it's so important to understand yourself, to understand what areas you need to develop and work on that, but also understanding that when you employ people, if you take that responsibility, even if you're a small business, you have to already be thinking about how you're going to help those people continue to develop their skills. One of the things that often happens in small businesses is you hire people for a particular role and you assume that they're just going to stay in that role because it's a small business, and, you know, so you don't develop them further, or you say you don't have the budget to be able to invest in people's continuous development outside of the workplace. But I think it's important to begin to explore other opportunities, because employee satisfaction plays a key role in terms of productivity within the workplace, along with remuneration. And so find other solutions that will enable them to learn the necessary skills so that they can be able to pour into the organization from a place of good faith, knowing that the employer is also operating from a place of good faith, but also understanding that people aren't going to be working for your organization forever. Make peace with that and understand that people will grow and develop and spread their wings in different directions, but build an organization that is enabling of them to be able to do that, because when people feel free, when people feel that they can show up authentically, when people feel supported in their roles, but also in the goals that they have for themselves, their careers, and their personal goals, then they tend to pour so much more into the organization and the work that they do, which ultimately benefits you as the entrepreneur and the bottom line of your company.